Not sure I can carry much more.
Hey folks, welcome in. This is Babbage and Air. We're hanging out in Long Dark. It is cold. At least out there it's cold. In here we're fine. Totally fine. Totally fine.
God, I could eat a horse.
Maybe a little peckish. We're still a little light. We need some socks. We need another sweater. We might actually have to do some cooking. We don't have much to heat up. That's not good. Okay. Hey, Vantiglow, thanks for the raid. You're just joining us. Well, let's give a shout out first to Vanta. See what you've been up to. Playing Warhammer. Switching things up a little bit.
Fuck! No! Ah! Oh my god! Ah!
Also, poetry and
Holy jeez!
TLD streamer and player. Yeah, that was intense. Good job. Good job. And yeah, so right now I've been kind of off streaming for about a week. I've just been really busy with some work stuff. But starting to get back into my streaming schedule again, so it's good to see you. And we're doing a challenge. If you have been around, you might know that I do this challenge called Roll With It, which is basically visit every single region in the entire, like both the far region and the regular main map. But the catch is this: you have to stay in each region for a randomly determined amount of time. So every time you enter a region, you roll a die and it tells you how many days you're there. During the first 50 days, it's 1 to 10 days in each major region. And then in transition zones or micro regions, these kind of smaller spaces, you roll a 4-sided die. It tells you how many days, 1 to 4. But after day 50, it all scales up. It suddenly becomes 1 to 20 days in each major region and 1 to 6 days in each transition zone. And at day 100, transition zones go to 1 to 8, and at day 150, they become 1 to 10. So if you ever imagined what you would do if you rolled 10 days in, let's say, Winding River, it would be terrible because there's just no resources. You'd run out really quickly. So the problem of not knowing if you're going to be there for a short time or a long time really factors into keeping the game interesting as you play along. So I have finished this challenge once. About a couple years ago I did it, and it took us 303 days to visit every single region and fulfill all our obligations, and we made it. And our last region was, of course, Black Rock, because I hate Black Rock. I'd actually lost this challenge a number of times in the very last region, which unfortunately a number of times was Black Rock. And that sucked, to get every region and then arrive in the last region and get jumped by 10 people. So I was very glad to beat it. But now it's time for me to do it again. So I'm trying my best to get as far as I can. It does help me become a much better player. Well, right now, Winding River is experiencing a severe weather problem. It is absolutely miserable out there. And I'm pretty much out of firewood. I could tear up the rest of my torches, but I think we'll just prepare some more water. And we'll just kind of hope get a break in the weather. So as it is right now, we are on day 40, and we leave on day 41. So we're halfway through this. This time in Winding River. So let's see here. Let's update our counter over here. We're at day 1 in Winding River. 40. Yep. Okay. So when the fire goes out, it will be out. So what were you up to in Warhammer? I don't think I've seen anyone play Warhammer in a while. No, we are warm enough here. You could just kind of rest for a little bit. I'm getting a little rest here.
I've never been so hungry in my life.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Ah, painting. So that's what you're doing. Okay. Good for you. I learning how to do it from scratch. Any tips or tricks so far that you come up with? Yeah. It's a tough balance to figure out how much you want. If it's too thin, it will start cracking. Too thick, you just... Oh, come on, guys. Don't be like this. Too thick, you'll blot out all the details in it. You can use... yeah, there's some different strategies for working with paint. And then there's some, like, the latest thing a few years back was they introduced a new type of paint that will take care of a lot of the highlighting for you, which is just because of how it dries. Which is kind of cool. But I never got around to spending money on that. Okay. Are you doing airbrush techniques? I don't know if you've ever watched, or you probably have. Oh, what's his name? Black Magic Craft, who I highly recommend. Talks a lot about painting. He experiments with all sorts of different painting techniques.
Jeez, this is cold.
Yeah, he will do like all the fancy ones, but he also does... He does some where it goes back to the basics. It's like, what if you really can't afford like this, you know, like the airbrush thing and everything else, you know, he just had bare minimum. He goes back to his roots and does some of those as well. And just plugging a little Canadian content, he's based in Winnipeg. But I remember like seeing his early videos and then seeing just how huge he's become. He's just very successful at what he does. He makes a lot of terrain pieces. He makes a lot of other stuff. Yeah. So let's see. It's Black Magic Craft. And I'll see if I can pull up the YouTube. Okay, so yeah, here he is. He's a lot of fun. And what I love about him is that he doesn't show you, how can I put this? Like sometimes you watch a crafting video and they only show you the successes. He shows you his failures too. He talks about why things, why he started off thinking this was going to work really well and then it doesn't. And then he tries to figure out a way to salvage it. And so, which is great. And he'll fully admit he's not like the world's best, absolute best mini painter. He is really good at doing terrain stuff. He has had a background both in music and like he's been in bands before. And he's also done some graphic design. But he did a lot of construction work for a long time. So he knows construction materials really, really well, which is like really deeply helpful when he's talking about paint, when he's talking about working with styrofoam and cardboard and different types of adhesives and glues and different strategies for creating effects on surfaces. He's speaking from real experience and not, I mean, it's great when you can experiment. It's a different thing when you have like actual practical knowledge and materials. And so, yeah, he's just really fantastic. And he has this whole room full of like terrain pieces he's built over the years. And he also writes his own game materials. I think over the last few years he's migrated away from like D&D and more old school and so like OSR, old school Renaissance, and some other sort of kind of heavy metal tinged sort of like dark fantasy stuff, and sometimes like kind of like whatchamacallit, a post-apocalyptic, type of settings too. Interested in all these different things.
Man, I could eat anything.
Yeah, I also love the fact that he goes back sometimes and he critiques and talks about his early videos too. And yeah, it's really down to earth. I just really like how down to earth he is about his whole process. Oops. It's not what we wanted. We did not want more water. Oops. Yeah, he's great. Really great. I used to follow all these, I still do, I just don't watch as many of them. A lot of terrain crafters because I really found it fascinating to see what they could make. And I used to build my own terrain too, which was really fun. I'm inspired by some of the things that they were doing. Making my own dungeon tiles, making my own set pieces for things. Oh yeah, and Blackmagic Craft also has a fantastic video on failure, on on like not treating this as a craft in which we are perfect, but instead embracing the fact that we do make mistakes, that there is a learning curve, and that our mistakes are part of what makes us better. He talks about in relationship to like not beating ourselves up about when things don't go the way we expect. Yeah, he's great. He's great. I think that is such a real video. He talks about that. I'll see if I can find that too. Let's see. This is it. I'd have to go back. It's been. I have to go back through it. It's been too long. I remember I shared it with someone else a while ago, but it was really heartfelt, and I felt like this relates. I actually ended up sharing it with another writer, and so like his attitude and perspective on the learning process and about the mistakes we make and why failure is important, and not beating ourselves up all the time about these things. He's talking about painting and terrain crafting, but really it's about anyone that's in the arts, anyone that's trying to do something where their imagination says they can do one thing and the reality sometimes doesn't work out the same way. And it's not the end of the world. You just keep trying. You get better. You only get better by trying,
Starving.
Okay, might as well eat these. Before. Add some more water back in. Figures. Can't last forever. Downside in all this is we did not gather a lot of new firewood, so that's kind of a problem.
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Oh, there we go. Some more firewood. Knew there was some up here that we hadn't gathered yet. Okay. Okay, so we're on day 40. Sometime in the morning it'll turn to 41.
I could eat a horse. I'd stand a lot because I love horses.
Tiny bubbles. So yeah, I've been a little tardy, a little flaky on my streaming schedule this past week. And partly it's been work, and partly it's been some other projects I've been on that have taken some evening time. But it was also partly because I bought Baldur's Gate 3 a couple weeks ago. And so I'll get sucked into playing that for a while. I'm trying to wean myself off of it so I don't have to. My curiosity isn't driving me into always playing it when I'm not online. It's such a good game. It is such a good game. I mean, there are definitely worse ways to go, but... Okay. Okay. It's almost bedtime. Let's just wait.
I need to eat soon.
Okay. Need food? We got food. Okay. Will Volo ever settle down? I don't know. I know he litters everywhere and leaves his books everywhere. Doesn't pick up after himself. Will Volo ever find a nice goblin and settle down? Yeah. Okay. Astrid to bed. That was one of my achievements that I got pretty quickly. Was I got the achievement where you read over 100 books. It was like, yeah, I'm playing myself, aren't I? Just like speeding through everything and reading all these books. I am just playing myself. I don't know if they have an advanced version of that achievement where you read 250 or 500 books, but I think I'm on track for that. Hey,
I could eat a horse.
it's light.
Let's stand a lot because I love horses.
40. Be 41 soon. Let's see, we have 4, 8. How much does it take for us to get some oil?
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
You know, I have not made almost any of these. So bad about actually doing any serious crafting of furniture items. Partly it's the nature of this challenge is that you really can't spend that much time. Plus, you get stuck some places for long periods of time. If there's anything I can make. Do we have any firewood at all? We do have one. Okay. Anyways, do we have any oil left? We do have a little bit of oil. We don't really have any purpose for that. Okay, we'll hold off on that. Eat this in. Oh, I think I saw something about that. Yeah. We want to carry all this stuff with us. Are we ever coming back to Winding River again? Probably not. We'll take the hides with us. We'll take the cured guts. Oh, I forgot to. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Are we there yet? Not yet. Okay, soon. Yeah, but we are pretty heavy. How can we make our life easier? We can drop this. Drop leader behind of this. I'll take. Yeah, we'll leave that behind. What else is going on here? Okay. Take the other maple just because we might be able to make a travois at some point. At least head that way. I already killed the wolf. We don't have to worry about the wolf coming back. So I'm trying to think what else is new. One of my recent projects has been I had some notes for my current. I was running 2 D&D campaigns, and now I'm back down to just one. But all the campaigns I run are pretty much set in the same homebrew world, so I've been trying to think of better ways to organize. Oops. Dropped the wrong one. So lately I've gone back to using, I started off using Notion because I did like the idea that I could access it through the online portal. But I was like, ultimately I just kept finding myself thinking I want a little bit more flexibility than what I can get out of Notion and a little bit easier sort of workflow. So I ended up coming back to Obsidian, which I had used in the past and never really finished building out a campaign for, like to use it as my tool. And so this time around, I did a little bit more research and made a better plan for how I was going to use it. And I am feeling much better about it. What I feel is like I've got this ongoing world environment that is somewhat persistent, and choices and actions that people make in one campaign will have a lasting effect on the world. And if another campaign is started, there will be lasting impacts from the previous campaigns in the world, on the politics, on the land itself, and what happens to some of the NPCs. So I like that. I like having that sort of sense that makes my job easier. I know how the world is being built out. And so what I've been doing with the Obsidian is I now kind of treat like there's all this information that's relevant to the world, and then there is information that's relevant to this specific campaign.
I want to lay down for a bit.
I try to manage it like that. So most things will go into folders that pertain to the whole world, and I might link to them within the session or within the campaign notes, but they all point back to things that are going to persist even after that campaign. Ooh, we are not at 41 yet, but should be soon. I think one of the trickiest things about figuring out how to manage a D&D campaign is trying to find a tool or workflow that matches, I would say, your improvisational level with the campaign. If you are someone that has to map everything out and plan out every last detail and have the entire world pre-written before the campaign even starts, then it may not be. Then you kind of have a right next to him, not on him. We moved him over a little bit. Oh, but it's 41. Okay, we are officially out of here. You are spared, Bunny. We are going to go. Okay, so we are officially on day 41. Next stop is PV. We have not been to PV before, so it's a brand new region for this run. PV. Zero out of whatever. Okay, off we go.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
So I think one of the coolest things I found in Obsidian is that I saw that someone had recommended using a plugin or an extension that allows you to do a Kanban board, which is basically a post-it or a task list type of a board. It's very flexible, and it makes these really. Oh yeah. Good call. We have to actually roll. So survey says, what is our roll? So this is going into PV. So this is a major region. So we roll the D10. Oh, that sucks. That, my dear friends, is a 1. We have 1 day, 24 hours here. That's going to be fast. We are not going to actually be able to loot this place. We will have a really fast run through here. But that's okay, because we'll be back through this soon enough. But yeah, that's kind of fast. PV1, leave, day 42. Wow. So I think our goal is to get to Timberwolf Mountain then. So we'll focus on that. I'm going to check out this direction first. Hoping to pick up a little bit of coal while we're in here. Yeah, that's our way out. Hey, we don't have time to waste on looting the whole place, so we're going to just go through. Our main goal is to find more clothing and more matches. Okay, there's some coal in here we can grab. Hey, Gwydek. Good to see you. Been a while. Hope you're doing well. We are on day 41 of our current Roll With It challenge. Yeah, I'm trying to think what I need to do to give you an update. I like so much stuff. So probably the last time you caught me streaming, I think I may have still been back in Vancouver, BC, on the west coast of Canada, and then I finished my program. I was working for a few months, and then I landed a job, which was unfortunately a limited term contract, but still a good experience, at University of Toronto. So I moved from Vancouver, BC to Toronto, Ontario in the end of January earlier this year, at the beginning of this year, in a car. So basically, I drove all the way across country, through the mountains, across the plains, through iced over roads and frigid temperatures, through a blizzard. I arrived in Toronto on the night of a blizzard, and all the roads were like filled out with snow. It was just absolutely insane. And yeah, so I did all that and got this, and managed to find an apartment in a week. Like I was in an Airbnb for a week. I had contacted a lease agent in advance, so I had a list of places to see on, like I arrived Sunday, and on Monday I was out looking at condos and apartments, and I found a place, and managed to negotiate, a good price, well, a reasonable price for quite the, it's a nice place, but it was a little bit more than I wanted to spend. But that's the nature of Toronto. Man, this is not good. So, yeah, ended up in a position. I work as a data librarian at the University of Toronto, which is a great job, learning a lot of things. But the kicker is the person I'm filling in for returns in February, so I'm already on the job market, looking for other places to go to next. And the best position I've come across so far that I've recently applied for would take me all the way back to the West Coast. So I'd have to drive all the way across the country again and set up again in Vancouver. So, but it would be a permanent role, and that's what I'm looking for. So am I happy? I am quite happy. I love my workplace here in Toronto. It's fantastic. We just finished they just finished a major renovation, and we were able to move back onto the floor that our library unit was previously on, and we have brand new offices, brand new fixings. Everything looks really, really nice, and yeah, it looks fantastic. And I have a really nice office because the person I'm filling in for is one of the senior librarians on the team, so I get a nice office. Treat me well. Pays decent. But the only downside is there's no option for me to continue because they don't have the funds to hire another person on top of the person that's returning. So as much as they could use me, they can't afford me. So the position out on the West Coast is kind of the ideal thing because it would pretty much put me back in contact with the same people that I used to work with out there. So now there's no chance. So it's a bad time for universities right now and libraries in general, where most universities were dependent on having a high level of international students, and their tuition, international student tuition, frequently was used to cover the expense of, like, to fill in the gaps in their budget. And then Canada, the federal government passed a law a few years back that introduced some rather strict, much lower caps on international student visas. And now everyone's in crisis because they planned like 2, 3, maybe even 4 or 5 year budget with an expectation that they would have this stable amount of money coming in from international students, and now suddenly have a third of that or a quarter of that. So they have to make cuts, and one of the ways they cut money is not creating new positions, not filling empty positions, but just waiting for an extra year or two. So it's the problem when you make like a political decision that feels like it's solving one thing, but no one bothered researching it to see if it actually, what the ripple effect of that decision was going to be. It turns out it's a pretty complicated network of interconnected economies tied to international students that we don't often think about. It's not just simply if you like lower the number of international students that the housing market for cheaper housing will automatically fix itself. You forget when you do that those international students add money to other parts of the economy. And so it's not like, when you take away those students, you're losing workers, you're losing people who spend money in the economy. Yeah. Cured. Sure. Can't pretend to have all the answers, though. Oh, Witcher 3 DLC coming. Oh, no. No. Did we do a very dumb thing? We did do a very dumb thing. Wow. I left my pot and my fry pan back in the other area. Back in Winding River. Well, I guess we're going to find a new pot and a new fry pan. Or we're living out of cans. Wow, that's terrible. How did I forget that? Wow, that's awful. It's either that or I go immediately back in and like go pick up our pot and I thought I had them all picked up. I don't understand what happened there. That is weird. Now I'm so paranoid that I'll do something like that. I always travel with an extra can, so but still, that's awful. I think it'll be bigger than GTA 6. Witcher 3 DLC? I'm not certain. I think Witcher's a really good franchise. I think my only complaint about Witcher is actually one of its features. Of like, some people really like the fact that there is simply one. You're playing Witcher, right? You're playing Geralt, and you don't have to worry about designing another character. You are playing the character. But I actually like playing someone, having choices about how I make my characters appear, and not having that sometimes was a little frustrating. So. I can't believe we left the thing. Well, it's only one day here. I think we might go back. I think that's it's kind of harsh not to have your cooking pot. And there's a lot of foods that I want to be able to cook that I need to have a cooking pot or the fry pans. So I think most likely we are going to end up back in Winding River. And the nice thing about Winding River, at least, is it's still the transition zone, so it's only going to be a maximum of 4 days. We got lots of cattails. We can live off of that. Nay, Brooks the golden rule. Well, I think we can backtrack if we still adhere to the same rule, which is that we still have to roll. I did that on my previous runs. Occasionally, I had to loop back someplace because I needed to get something that I left behind. So I stuck it out until I hit my time, and then I would go back in and I'd roll again. Sometimes I got screwed over, and I had to stay there a long time to sort it out. But this one is like, even if we get a 4, it's still under 50 days. So the next time we enter PV, we will still be rolling a D10. It would have been nice, though, to go straight into Timberwolf Mountain and hopefully roll low and then go into Ash Canyon and go pretty low as well. But sometimes you don't get that, so yeah, I think we're gonna have to. The weather's not cooperating either for a 1-day stay. I think this may be it. May have to do it this way.
I've never been so hungry in my life.
Yeah, the rules are strict, but they're not impossible for this challenge. So you can always re-enter a region. It just means you have to roll again.
I need to find food.
Book of Hours. I don't think I've played that before. If the weather lets up, we can go outside and do a little bit more like scavenging, but sounds pretty bad. Wow. Yeah, we're gonna go out there and see if we can gather some more sticks. I mean, we can't really burn these, but
I'm not going to be
unless we'll
prepared
take
to
them
smoke
when
for much longer.
we can.
God, yeah, freezing. This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Okay.
God, I need anything right about now.
Okay. Should we go? Wonder if we should. No, it's the closest we can get. Oh, you know what? You know what? We will try our luck. We will go. Maybe we won't turn back. Maybe we'll go to the farmhouse and see if we can get enough. We should be able to get a pot and pan there, so I think maybe this is going to work out fine. Okay, we'll do that.
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Yeah, I think we want to do that. Okay, we'll do that. We'll try to get to the weather's changing here. So we should almost certainly get a cooking pot from the farmstead, and maybe also a skillet. So I was panicking about losing those things, and I remembered, oh, wait a sec, this is Pleasant Valley. Our next stop is going to be the place where we're most likely to find those things anyway, so leaving them behind is not the end of the world. March up here. Hope we don't run into the bear. So, yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll aim for a skillet or cooking pot, signal tower, like this signal tower here, and then also in the farmstead, and then try to get to the farmstead tonight, so that we can leave from the farmstead and go straight to Timberwolf Mountain in the morning.
I can't feel my hands.
Okay, do we see any tracks? I don't see any tracks. I think we're good. I don't hear any bear noises. We're good.
I'm alive.
And now we're picking up speed. We've got to be quick like a bunny, in and out.
I'm not gonna be able to carry this load for much longer.
Come on, matches. I guess we'll take that. Go there, flare. Okay, we have a code. Let's see. Okay. Go leave one in the homestead. That's useful. Okay, quick look to see if we have some matches hanging around.
I think I can use this.
More cloth. Okay. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry. Did I say I hate being cold? Because I really do.
Okay. Mountain goat our way down. First, we might make ourselves some warm tea, though.
Come on, little fire.
Fire starting 4. That's good news. Let's see here. Okay, that's perfect. Okay. Off we go. Okay, it's kind of spooky out right now, but we're going to push through.
Sure getting cold.
Should quickly check and see if we can get the rabbit hat. Honestly, it's late enough. We probably should just stay in the small barn. It would be nice if the weather was good enough for us to get in and out of the barn and go straight to the house, and then we can search the house in the dark.
I could eat anything. Wait, I'm so cold, I'm warming up a bit.
Okay.
Barely walked with this much gear.
There's another hammer here. But we don't need it, so...
I'll take it.
Yep. Just a bunch of hats. Okay, we are out of here. See how dark it is.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
This part's always a little spooky.
The cold is making... so cold. I've never been so hungry in my life.
Okay. Let's really hope we find a cooking pot or skillet here.
I've never been so hungry in my life. This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Oh, that kind of sucks. These are all lousy torches. There we go. So we've got a pot here. but we have no skillet.
I could eat anything right now.
Okay.
I can barely walk with this much gear. Hope nobody needs this anymore.
Ooh, lucky us matches. We're not going to find a whole lot because this is almost day 50. So a lot of stuff will be already gone. I think that is the sad reality of, like, even if we do get to the summit, almost nothing will be left in the containers, except for things that don't decay. So the cured hides, which honestly may be worth it, depending on what we need to craft. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go upstairs. We are going to crawl into bed and sleep, and we'll probably consider that the end of this stream. Okay, let's, we don't need to...
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
cook some stuff. Maybe I should go back to the kitchen. Do you even have any firewood? Barely.
This'll come in handy. Come on, little fire. Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Oops. Okay, let's see what we can eat here. This looks healthy. We can eat that. We'll search in the morning. Hey, we're going to wrap up here soon. Read a poem and then hit our nut and read someone. Let's see here. Trying to sleep. Okay. It is day 42. It is time to leave already.
Ugh, my tongue feels like sandpaper.
Okay. Day 42. Let's grab what we need to grab. Timberwolf Mountain. Will we have a chance to craft anything? Maybe. Okay.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
So let's just update our counter here. We are 1 out of 142. We will head our way. Okay, it's time for us to leave. We will do that next time. Okay, before we go, we will read a poem, as is our custom. And let's see, what should we get? Poem chooser says here and there. Okay, so this comes out of my first book of poetry, Lost Country of Sight, published by Nhinga Press way back in 2008. This was winner of the Philip Levine Prize, the National Poetry Prize for new books of poetry. Here and there. Is it in this section? No, there it is. Okay. Here and there. So this is, well, we'll talk about the poem afterwards. This is dedicated to a dear friend of mine, a poet who was one of my mentors, by the way, name of Nancy Lambert, who was always looking out for me in Los Angeles. When I was at the early stages of my career, I was still working as a programmer by day, but I would spend my evenings at the open mic nights. And then my friend Nancy and her husband were among those older poets who kind of took me in and gave me advice. And Nancy, in particular, helped coach me through the application process for graduate school. So this poem is for her. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about it afterwards. Here and there. There's always an echo in the telling, something that remains hidden in the hand that passes over the sky. And now I can see it, if only through her eyes, for this moment, that sky scraped wide over Joshua Tree in the dark, and the stars ringing like a chord of light, struck from the depths of some irreconcilable blue, sudden or slow. I do not ask why her hair is almost gone, why her body is now so frail, as if grown over an architecture of dust, that common remnant of longing. God, she says, it was beautiful. What could she tell me? Beyond the desert, its dreams of salt and storm. Here is a tree, A spent fist of flame, she seems to say, standing in the shadows. Here is the wind. The freeways are filling with strangers. The sun is coming down. Here is the road we drove all night to find a way home. And when I leave, there are men at every corner lighting my way, each selling oranges, offering with their hands the bitter and the sweet until they blend like a river of lamps burning. So this poem was, like I said, inspired, dedicated to my dear friend Nancy Lambert, who she had numerous bouts with cancer and won most of the time, but did not in the end when she finally cancer returned more aggressively than before, and she and her husband decided near the end that they wanted to go out to Joshua Tree, out into the desert. He was an artist and she was a writer, and they would spend like a few days out there and just draw and paint and enjoy each other's company. And when she came back, she told me about that experience and about how incredibly moved she was by the beauty out there. She'd been before, but it was especially clear to her then. She knew, this was near the end of her life, and she knew. But she also said that she had this very strange dream, or not strange dream. She had a kind of a wonderful dream, in which she dreamt that she was very nervous and worried about what was going to come next. And she heard in the dream she was shown her doctors and felt this just warm embrace of knowledge that everyone in her life, the doctors, her family members, her friends, community members, people who had been part of her cancer support group, everyone was doing the best that they could. And that regardless what happened, she was going to be okay. Whether that meant that, she would still be here or that she'd be gone. But there was not that there was anything that was wrong or anything that people had failed to do. That it was just, this is how it's going to be. And she said, it gave her a profound sense of calm and peace that she did not know she needed right at that moment. But it was the stillness that she needed. And she really appreciated that. And so later when she went out and she and her husband went out and painted, she kind of came back and told me about that experience. The closing image is one that's very Los Angeles, which is if you are driving around anywhere in Los Angeles, you'll always see these migrant workers standing on the street corners or at intersections, or sometimes even, just in the middle of the road. And they're always selling whatever they'd spent their time picking, and so, a few, whether it's fruit or other things. And so I had in mind that image, like driving home and seeing these orange globes in their hands, and reminded again of the image in Japan of the Obon festival, where, family members and friends gather at the river, and they take these paper lanterns and put them on these little wooden boats, and they light the lantern and set it out on the river, and it just flows out. And the floating lanterns are supposed to be their prayers, their wishes going out to those. It's a festival for the dead, and so kind of those things came together in that final image there. Yeah. Anyways, that's for Nancy here and there. Just to miss the poem, sorry. But yeah, so we We had a little roller. You missed out on the big mistake that I made, which was I left Winding River and accidentally forgot to take my pot and my skillet with me. So we arrived in PV and rolled a 1, and it was like, oh crap. We're going to be in and out of here so fast. And I thought for a second that I'd go back to Winding River and pick up my stuff. I thought, no, we're in PV. The odds are good that we can get the pot, maybe even the skillet, if we go to the homestead, to the farmstead. So we did that. And we got the pot, but we did not find the skillet. But we did find flour and another thing of maple syrup and some more cooking oil. So everything we need to make pancakes, which if I had still had my skillet, would have been plenty to keep us going. And yeah. Oh, so that's kind of heartbreaking. So are we going to find a skillet when we get to Timberwolf Mountain? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Will we find a skillet in Ash Canyon? Maybe. I think it's usually a cooking pot, not a skillet. So, I don't know. We'll see. Will we be back in PV and have opportunities to search again? Yes. Will we go back to Winding River? Probably not. Though I think it's a shame, but I think we lost our skillet, and I'm hoping we find another one somewhere. Yeah. So anyways, that's it for us tonight. We made it all the way to day 42. So next stream, there's a possibility we will roll high and end up breaking 50 days in the new region. Could happen. All right, so let's see where we're going next. UC Gaming, Drama Llama, Tina, let's go visit Tina. Let's visit Tina. Yeah. Tina is lovely to visit. Seems like a good person. Good time to visit. Okay, let's go visit Tina. Thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. We had people in here earlier. We had a nice little raid. Raid from Vantiglow. So we will see everyone next time. Not Wednesday night, because Wednesday night my Thursday night D&D game will be on Wednesday night this week. So no stream Wednesday night. And so that might mean stream on Thursday night instead. So we'll see. Okay, thank you all. We'll head on over. Appreciate you. See you again, Roller.